Coach, have you ever seen a game like that where you're tied into the bottom of the seventh and then you go score 10 runs to end it?
No, have not. But it's kind of fitting for this team in a way. Kind of, you could sum up a final home game, I guess, in one thing with this team. It's kind of fitting, the fact that kind of moving along there, had a 4-run lead, and then we stubbed our toe there in the seventh, and then this team responds like they always do. So, and responded in a way that it was an explanation point for, for this team. I heard the announcement on the record fans this year. Thank you to the fans that showed up and supported us this year. But this team has just been resilient all year long and bounced back from adversity all year long. So that seventh inning, the way it went, it doesn't feel great when you give up a 4-run lead, but to come back and put up the 10 spot. Did I expect that? No. But am I surprised? No. Because these guys just seem to respond. Anytime they get punched in the mouth, they seem to respond. So extremely proud of them. It was a great seventh inning in a lot of ways.
Coach Jacob Tobias was just in here getting pretty choked up, a little emotional. What does a player like him serve as a new example of this program and what he embodies about ASU?
Well, I've been choked up a lot of the day too. So if I crack here, forgive me. But he's meant just a ton to this program. He's what a Sun Devil is all about. Just shows up every day with a hard hat and a lunch pail on, ready to go to work and play baseball. Smile on his face, teammates love him. He just is that kid that I've written so many times in that 4 spot and just not even thought twice about it. And he just has been an absolute staple for this program, and he's what it's all about. What a tremendous young man. He was the first kid that I met in person here when I got the job 4 years ago, and he's been with me since day one. I honestly thought he was a clubhouse worker the first time that I met him. This kid's coming to ASU, okay. And then I saw him hit for the first time. I'm like, oh, that's why he's coming to ASU. So he's just progressively gotten better and better every year. He's one of my favorites. Just a tremendous young man, tremendous family, been raised the right way, and has just really represented this program the way it's supposed to be represented. So I told him this is an emotional day for all of us when it comes to him personally, and all of our seniors here that, but Toby's been here since day one. This is 4th year at Muni. A lot of great memories for him. So that was kind of emotional with him in particular, but he understands that we're not done yet.
You just had your stole ceremony, and out of the 5 guys, Toby's the only one you've had for 4 years. How did you feel with him walking across that stage and putting that stole?
Same thing. I choked up like baby. I'm getting softer in my older years where I get a little more emotional than I used to, because I've lived a little longer and understand what the important things are in life. And this has been a challenging year in a lot of ways, but you find out who has your back through tough times, and those kids in there have had my back, and I got theirs. And when you look at a kid like Jacob Tobias, who's been here for 4 years, and we've been through a lot together, it just kind of hits you all at once. Like, man, I'm not going to see that kid, in a Sun Devil uniform next year, and that's, kind of punches you in the gut. It's like, man, you take it for granted a little bit, but on the other hand, he's given me so many memories as a coach in 4 years. I'm very appreciative of him and what he's done and what he means to the Sun Devil program.
What's different about this year's team from maybe a few years in the past? I don't want to say they're different, because I think our teams in the past have battled their asses off too, and responded to adversity. We've just won a few more games this year, but hockey had
was the stat the other day, one of 4 teams in America the last 3 years to win 16 or more conference games, in the last 3 years. Like, okay, say what you want about us and say what you want about those teams, but that's, one of 4 teams in the country to win that many conference games in a row in 3 straight years. So the last 3 or 4 years, the teams we've had have been very resilient and bounced back to adversity. We haven't gotten to our end goal, of course, but I wouldn't say that this team is different than those from a mentality standpoint. I think the last, every team that I've had, I think from the feedback I've gotten is your guys play hard, man. They go out and they play their butts off, and that's all you can ask for. The results aren't always going to be there the way you want them, but as long as they represent the program by their effort level and how they play, we'll live with the results. So this team is in line with those, but we've won a few more games in the past couple of years. Teams have, but each individual team has their own character and their own fabric, I guess. This team has. Last year I didn't say a word the second half of the year, and that's when that team responded. This year, these guys have gotten their ass chewed a few times, and they respond phenomenally to that. And now I don't like doing that all the time, but these guys know when our staff gets a little bit on edge that they button it up and they respond pretty well. So just as a very good leadership type team, just been a blast to coach this team, and especially what we've been through in the middle of the year with a lot of people doubting us, and these guys have really come together and had each other's back, and it's just been a lot of fun the second half of the year.
The guys just talked about the NCAA tournament and not wanting to get too comfortable when it comes to thinking about whether they're in or not. How often, Willie, have you thought about the NCAA tournament?
Truth. Every day. You sit here and think about it, like, okay, what do we got to do? But I don't relay that message to our guys. Our guys is, hey, go play baseball today. Be ready to play and tee it up, and let us do the calculating and worrying if we're going to make it or not. And at the end of the day, you go out and play baseball. And I've tried to, and it's realistic. Like, let's win the conference. Let's really prove everybody wrong and go out and win this damn conference, because we can. Mathematically, we can do that. And that was the mantra, a month ago when everybody else gave up on us. Like, screw them. Let's go win the conference and do it ourselves. And these guys have taken that to heart, and we've made a pretty damn good run at it here late. And mathematically, still got a shot. So, we're going to go to Stillwater with that mindset that we're going to go win on Thursday and see what happens. But as far as the making the field of 64, yeah, that's certainly on our coaching staff's mind, and I think I'd be sure it's probably on some of the players' minds. I think you look at perfect example, Jacob Tobias is a young man that hasn't had that opportunity. I want that so bad for that kid to experience a postseason run, and I think obviously and not just him, everybody in there, but we're doing everything we can to get there and make a run.
Coach, you mentioned the record fan support for this season. You've advocated for support and NIL support as well. How is it to kind of see some of that start to blossom this year?
Well, the fan support's been amazing. And again, I'll reiterate, thank you to the fans for showing up attendance-wise. That part of it's been outstanding. Getting on the topic of NIL, I don't really like that topic, but it's been tough road to haul. And I get it, I understand. People have different thoughts toward NIL, and what I'm proud of this team about is we've built this team with good old-fashioned 11.7 scholarships. We haven't had a whole lot of NIL money to work with, and we built a pretty damn good team without it, and we've developed good players without it. So that's a tribute to my coaching staff, what they've done with these guys. It's a tribute to these players that they're not out for dollar bills. They're out for wanting to come to a place where they're going to get taught how to play baseball the right way, and play for a program that stands for the right things. And we don't have deep pockets when it comes to that. So would it be nice to have it? Hell yeah, I would love it. If anybody wants to help out, it'd be great. But At the end of the day, we haven't built this program on that. We built it on good old-fashioned hard work and getting after it with guys that want to get better. So for that, I'm extremely proud of this team, and extremely proud of the past three teams that we've had, that we've done it with just us. And the very basement of financial support on the NIL front. And that's not me making excuses or crying or doing anything like that. That's just the facts. And these guys have come together as a team without it and with very little of it, and said, you know what, we don't need that. We're just going to go play baseball, and we're going to learn how to play and develop and get better. And so at the end of the day, would it be nice to have? Heck yeah. Could we have gotten other players maybe if we had, you know, some deeper pockets? Certainly. Would they have been program changers? Certainly. But the facts are, we got great players here and great kids that didn't need that. They came here to stand for something a little bit different, and for that, I'm forever grateful for this team and my coaching staff for what they've done to develop a team like this on a very, very, very small NIL budget.
And Coach, you talk about when obviously not always wanting to have to battle back, or the other day when I asked you about that, but when you look at this lineup up and down, I mean, it just seems like the approach of passing the bat and just being up there relaxing, but everybody seems like they have somebody behind them protecting them. What have you just seen this last month from this group offensively?
Just getting more and more confident, and we've seen this the last couple of years where there's been times where, if I'm being transparent, me and the coaches have gotten a little frustrated at times, where it's like, man, just stick with the plan and stick with the approach. And sometimes it takes a month or 6 weeks into a season before they start understanding it, and they're facing different arms than their own guys, and it takes a little bit to start clicking together and come up with that identity as an offense. And I knew it was coming. I think our coaches knew it was coming, but we had to make some adjustments along the way. And I credit our coaching staff and I credit our kids for buying into what we're selling. And because we know this is all these gurus out there that like to reinvent the game of hitting. It's been successful for 150 years doing it a certain way, and that's what we teach here. Be ready for the fastball, see spin up, and stay in the middle of the field. It's not like we're trying to reinvent it. It's just a matter of showing guys what they do and what they're capable of doing when they stick with an approach. And it's taken a while to click, but now that it is, these guys are starting to roll.
And to piggyback off that, I know probably don't want to, but like guys being comfortable hitting at multiple different spots in the lineup. I mean, I know hitting has a mentality, but when you're in a different slot, it's kind of a different mentality. How much of a freedom is that give you set in the lineup?
I think they understand that every at bat is important, and every at bat gives you a different situation. And regardless, early on in the season, especially, I shuffled the lineup a lot, trying to find that right mix. And as of late, I haven't really touched the top 4 or 5 guys in the lineup, but that bottom part I kind of shuffle up a little bit to kind of go lefty-righty matchup, so we don't have a big string of left-handers in a row too often, even though we have a lot of lefties in our lineup. But those are just managerial things that I try to do to give our guys break up left-handers with a right-handed bat or vice versa. But they seem to respond, and sometimes it's good to not let them get too comfortable, and shuffle things up a little bit, and understand that they can't get complacent, or someone else is going to take their job, and or they're going to change their spot in the batting order. So again, these guys seem to respond pretty well to that.
That's 9 home runs in 10 games for Isaiah Jackson. I mean, can you remember the last time you've seen a player sort of on his tear? And then I know you talk about his plate discipline, but what exactly has worked for him to kind of have this incredible power surge?
I think it's just all coming together. He and Jason Ellison have worked extremely hard on revamping his swing and his approach. And to Isaiah's credit, he's bought in. I think there was I don't want to say friction, or not completely 100% buy-in the past couple of years, and listening to other voices out there and listening to other people and trying to please everybody. And to that kid's credit, the day that he got back from summer ball, he came into my office and said, "Whatever you tell me to do, I'm doing this year. I'm not listening to anybody else." I'm like, hallelujah. You know, he understood finally. He kind of hit rock bottom this summer, and understood that he's got to make some adjustments, man, and they got to stay consistent with it. And learning how to hit doesn't come overnight. It takes consistency over time, and he stuck with it. He and Jason have worked extremely hard and revamping that swing and getting consistent, and you know, it's starting to pay off. So just couldn't happen to a better young man. He's put the work in, and it's starting to pay off.
And then I know I mentioned Brandon a few times in the past week, but that's 3 straight games with home run for him. How important is it for him to get hot at this point in the season?
You know, it's another kid that hasn't early on had the type of year that he's wanted to have. I think he's pressing a little bit, or had been pressing a little bit, but man, if we can get that hot, I still don't think he's not up to his capability yet, but he's starting to swing it better and starting to show signs that it's coming. So if we can get, you know, that bat hot and get Boo hot, and Toby does what he does, and the top 3 are doing what they're doing, like, it's gonna be fun.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.